This is News 24 Live. I'm Erin Bates. We're talking about the upcoming fuel hikes that are going to hit South African consumers across the board on Wednesday morning. And as we hear, there are two factors that really play into the increase in fuel prices, paraffin as well and diesel. And that is the strength of the rand, or the weakness of the rand at the moment, and then also international demand for fuel and oil specifically. I'm sitting down now with Neil Roots, who's the CEO of Debt Rescue. Neil, can you just tell us how exactly those two factors play into the cost of petrol and fuel in South Africa? The cost of oil overseas and then the strength of the rand.
Well, as South Africans, we get our oil from overseas, so we have to import it and pay for it in dollar. And obviously, so when the price of Brent crude oil goes up, then we're going to pay more for that. And the problem that South Africa is sitting with, to add to that, is that the rand is definitely not performing well against the dollar. So we have less buying power on our side. So those two factors, the fact that the oil price is going up, along with the fact that the rand is getting weaker and weaker, just causes the consumers in South Africa to pay more for their petrol, because it's basically more. It costs more to produce the petrol, and it goes further than just affecting people directly when they put fuel in their cars. If you look at the diesel price, for instance, everything in South Africa, or most of the things in South Africa, all goods are transported by road. So the fact that the diesel price is also going up, and significantly, it's going up by 76 cents a litre, it has a big influence on the prices of other goods and services as well. It filters through to those prices because of the fact that it's transported by road. So what it comes down to is this petrol price and fuel, diesel price increases will have a devastating effect on consumers in South Africa.
We know in April, when the new budget was announced, that there was a fuel levy increase. So across the board, South Africans paying a levy, which then goes into state coffers. And in some senses, I suppose that's a good thing, because it means that the state has some income to use for its social projects. Is that a generous levy? Is it moderate? Where do we stand on the fuel levy in South Africa?
Well, one can argue that it's a good thing, because then there's money to use for government. But overall, we feel that with the petrol price as high as it is, consumers just couldn't afford the petrol price or the petrol levy at 30 cents a litre. And it just adds to the over-indebtedness of consumers. And we feel that government should rather do more to help people who are over-indebted, and this is definitely not helping the situation. What government did right, if there's one thing that government did right, it is introducing the National Credit Act, which obviously curbed reckless lending, and also helped people in a situation where they are over-indebted to become debt-free without losing their assets and pay off their debt in an affordable manner. And that's a process called debt counselling. That was introduced by the National Credit Act. So that's a very good thing. It's just a shame that not everybody in South Africa knows about these remedies, and we also feel that government can perhaps do more to educate people about the help that is out there.
I suppose one of the ways in which people get into debt around transport and cars is the good old petrol card, which is just a fancy name for a normal credit card used for buying petrol. What are the numbers? Do we know how many South Africans are using petrol cards, or how things look in terms of debt related to petrol cards?
Well, we don't have the exact figures, but what it comes down to is that when people pay for the petrol with a credit card or petrol card, then what it means is that they are financing their petrol, which is obviously not a good thing, because in South Africa, unfortunately, there's almost 20 million people with credit in South Africa, credit active consumers. And the sad thing is almost half of those people are over indebted. So more than 9 million people in South Africa are over indebted, meaning that they are in arrears with at least 3 payments on one of their accounts. So in essence, people cannot really afford to, or most of the people cannot afford to make use of credit when they put in petrol in their cars. And that also comes down to financial literacy. We feel that if people are educated, get financial education at an early stage in their life, then they might realize at the later stage that it's definitely not a good thing to finance your petrol and even your food. There's people who finance their food, who buy food on credit. And obviously we advise against that. And the best way to go is not to have any credit or debt at all, and only use it where you have to use it, or on your safer debts, if I can put it that way, like your house, like bonds and vehicle finance, your home loans and vehicle finance. But it's definitely reckless from a consumer's point of view to finance their food or even petrol, like we just said.